Hume's Own segment tonight, as we said in the Talking Points memo, the Obama re-election people already gearing up to pay Mitt Romney as a fat cat greedhead. Will that work? Joining us now from Washington, Fox News senior political analyst Brit Hume. So there's a lot invested in this already. I mean, Bernie Goldberg, as I said, he's analyzing a new thing where Romney's the whitest white guy who's ever run or something like that. That was in the New York Times yesterday. And the one percenter, greedhead, all Romney wants to do is give the rich guys more. So they really must think, they being the Obama re-election campaign out of Chicago, Axelrod and those guys, that they've got something here.
Well, I think they do think that, and I don't think obviously he's going to run on the great, results in the economy. You can't run on that, and so I think you'll hear a lot about trying to portray the Republicans as the Republican nominee as a rich man completely out of touch with the average American who has no real idea to help the average American, and indeed spend his business career hurting average Americans by eliminating jobs. That will be the theme, and we've already heard it used against Romney by a couple of his Republican rivals, Rick Perry in particular using the phrase vulture capitalism, which we may hear again from the Democratic side before all is said and done. So, I think that's the direction these things will go, and I think if it's not properly rebutted by Romney, effectively rebutted by Romney, it could hurt him very badly.
Well, in the polls in South Carolina, it's not helping Newt Gingrich or Rick Perry right now to make these attacks on Mitt Romney, not helping them. They haven't surged in the poll. They haven't improved their position. They're on the defensive. I don't know whether we're going to see a lot of that tonight or not. I don't know whether Speaker Gingrich is going to go full throttle after Romney on the Bain issue or pull back saying, it's not really working for me. What do you think?
I think that there's less danger from Romney from these attacks from Newt Gingrich and Rick Perry than there is that this issue will be picked up and exploited by the Democrats. And I don't think that the Romney folks, although they've begun to find their balance on this issue, have been very effective in responding to this. They seem to be caught off guard, caught off balance, not well prepared. They didn't seem to have the facts that are on their side, and there are a number of them at the ready to use in response advertisements and in the statements they put out and so on. So I think the Romney team has some work to do to get ready for what is certain to be more of this if indeed he becomes a nominee, as he seems well on his way to doing.
Now, as I pointed out in the Talking Points memo, the two most famous Democratic icons, JFK and FDR, very wealthy people, very wealthy guys, and so the Democratic Party now getting behind trying to demonize wealthy people. I don't know. I mean, if I were Romney, I'd be going back to those guys going, well, what's changed here in America?
Well, you can make the argument that those men inherited money that was invested the old-fashioned way, that they weren't these kinds of venture capitalists.
Well, let me just stop you. Invested the old-fashioned way, is that running booze like the elder Kennedy did? Is that the old-fashioned way, selling bootleg whiskey? I believe that's how they made their money.
Well, I think
maybe that's old-fashioned. I'm not really sure.
Well, let me say this: by the time Ted Kennedy and the other Kennedy brothers were living off this money, I suspect that it had long since been invested in. Prohibition was over. It had long since been invested in more traditional vehicles.
7 and all of that. Right?
Yeah, I get that. I mean, look. But the fact is, you can make a distinction. Look. In the end, Mitt Romney is going to have to establish to the satisfaction of the country that this business as he was in, venture capitalism and private equity investing, was beneficial to the country as a whole and beneficial to the economy and, on balance, beneficial to workers. And if he fails to do that, there will be a serious line of vulnerability on which he will be attacked and possibly successfully by the Democrats.
Okay. Well, I think they're going to, whether he defines it or not, they're going to use that class warfare deal. I see it as a class warfare race right down to the wire. Am I wrong?
No, I don't think you're wrong about that, and that's what this whole business about the 1% versus the 99% where the Democrats are hoping to gain some strength from a slogan really pioneered by the Occupy Wall Street people. The Occupy Wall Street people, I don't think they want to attach themselves to, but I do think that the idea of the 1% to the 90 versus the 99% is certainly where they want to be and where they want to position themselves, and you obviously where Mitt Romney will be positioned.
Right, there's no doubt. All right, Brit Hume, everyone, thank you. Plenty more ahead. As the factor moves along this evening, more racial stuff from the New York Times, as we mentioned. Bernie Goldberg has been analyzing a columnist who says Romney is the whitest man to run for president in recent memory. We're not kidding. And later, Karl Rove previewing the big debate on Fox News Channel tonight. We hope you stay tuned for those reports.